Hey, Monique.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm so good.
We've been traveling a little bit, huh?
I know. It's been great.
It's our spring fling where we head off into the world, and I can't wait to get back into the studio with you and catch up.
Yes.
Well, one of the many reasons that we do this podcast is to bring women together. That has been a thread from the beginning as we've had women guests joining us, and has been predominantly, every once in a while we let a man on here, but for the most part, we are pro female guests. And we have two together with us today that are really special and are newer to our lives. And I'm so excited to welcome Christa and Kristine. And we're going to talk about how they found our way to us and how that ties into a past episode. How's that sound?
Sounds fantastic.
Let's do it.
All right.
Welcome to Heart and Soul, the podcast where we empower and inspire women to lead their best lives, harnessing the power of their hearts and souls. We are Mariah
And Monique.
your hosts and guides on this journey of self-discovery and personal growth.
In each episode, we will dive deep into topics that matter most to you, from self-love and confidence to career development, relationships, and everything in between. We believe that every woman has a unique strength and inner wisdom waiting to be unleashed.
Join us as we cover insightful heart and soul-centered topics and interview incredible women who've overcome challenges, chased their dreams, and found their true purpose. Through all of this, you will discover practical tips, strategies, and real-life stories to help you navigate life's twists and turns.
For whatever season of life you're in, this podcast is your safe space to explore, learn, grow, and possibly even laugh and cry with us. So grab your headphones, maybe your favorite drink, and we'll embark on this transformative journey together.
With heart, I'm Mariah.
And with soul, I'm Monique.
Welcome, ladies.
Hello.
Well, let's refresh our audience. Going all the way back to episode 23,
Yes.
we had founders of a group that we led called Leap on the episode with us, where we
Yes.
talked about how we had come together, the four of us, to bring women together for networking, to gather women. And we created this group, and we did it for 2 whole years. And then we decided it was time to transition the group to new ownership.
Pass the baton.
Pass the baton. And so these 2 incredible women it was perfect timing. It was kismet. They were right there, ready for it, to take our idea and elevate and take it to the next level of how we could continue to gather locally women for just incredible fellowship. I mean, so many topics, so many just connections that have come out of that group. I, in fact, heard about one just this morning. So I'm really excited to dive into the 2 of you and how you came to this and just welcome you to the pod.
Thank you.
We're excited.
Yes.
We like to start by talking about how we met. And for me, it was through Leap that I met the both of you. So sometimes these conversations are like, 20 years ago, but this was within the last year. I would say last 6 months.
Yeah, probably right.
And then I'm like, well, how's it been so long? I need to know you. We need to be friends. So I just feel so grateful that they brought us together. And you two, Monique, did you meet
I
the
think
both of
that's
them?
how I met. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe the women's thing at the chamber is when I first met you.
I think that we have all kind of been moving
Yes,
in circles
right?
that were
Yes.
kind of near each other for a while.
Yes.
And my first connection was with Lori from
That's
the
right.
group.
Yep.
And Christine and I have known each other for over 10 years.
More than that.
More than that.
Yep.
And so it really did feel like how did we not know each other
Yes.
before
Yeah.
this? So,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, that's exactly how we ended up starting the Leap group to begin
Yes.
with, is because I kept thinking, I have this network and Monique has this network and Lori and Ange had their networks. And we would always talk to each other about like, do you know so-and-so? Do you know so-and-so? Oh, you should meet or we should cross these networks. And one day it was like, what if we did a thing where we brought all those people to one room and let them get to know each other? And then it happened and it was magical. And
really was.
so many new people now, when I see them around, I'm like, oh, that's exactly how I know you. I always know it was because of Leap. So it was a real blessing to us. And so I would love for you to share with our audience a little bit more about your backgrounds. Just tell us about you, who you are as beautiful humans, and then how you came to decide to carry this torch of Leap.
Want to start?
I can start.
Go for it.
So this is Christa.
Krista.
Christa, I've been in Duluth for about 15 years now. Grew up in Wisconsin in the Midwest and moved to Duluth for a job and worked with a lot of women where I met Kristine and had that connection, that fellowship that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Definitely. It was just part of life. It was
It's foundational.
Vast majority women, right? Learning from women, turning back around and bringing women up, teaching. And then after COVID, I unfortunately lost that job and thought that, I would have never left. And so it was a big change and a realization that I had put a lot of my self-worth into over time, like evolved into like my identity was really wrapped up in what that job was. And so in the midst of all of that change as well, I married my high school sweetheart.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, we went to our senior prom together. So that's way back.
so sweet.
That's way back. Super sweet. Justin, he's the best. And then we have an 11-year-old son. And so we had him since moving to Duluth. So really we built our family and life up here.
You lived in the Midwest, but were you guys from the Duluth area or the area we're in?
No, I mean, just an hour or so south, but we would vacation in Duluth in the summers, come up to Glen Sheen. I'd always loved Duluth. And so when my husband and I were, still dating, but post-college trying to decide what to do, we were in the Twin Cities for a while, but we had actually always wanted to move up to Duluth, and the job situation kind of is what migrated us up here. So then after I lost that job, we really had a kind of crisis of conscience. Like, what do we want to do?
Yes.
Do we want to move? Do we want to stay here? And we just knew this was the right place to stay and raise our little family. And so we agreed and wanted to stay here, and then found myself on a different career path. And really what led me to Kristine and back with Leap was Kristine and I had met for coffee and had come off of a Chamber Women's event and a few other smaller women-centric connective things. And I thought, I'm missing this. After working with so many women day in, day out, large groups of them, I missed it. And Kristine, we'd connected and felt the same way, and then found ourselves to this. When you say kismet, that's the same story I tell, is that I just do believe that happens. Sometimes things like that can happen for a reason, and that it brought us here for that purpose. And so that's a little bit about me. I'm just a hockey mom from Minnesota. My son plays hockey and baseball, and outside of work and Leap, it's #1 fan right now. That's the stage of life we're in, and we just love it. So
how old is he?
he's 11, so he's in 5th grade, and
We've got a lot of bench time.
a lot of bench time. The hockey season never ends, but baseball starts in there too, and so we just have so much fun, the three of us, and doing that with Jackson and his sports.
That's
is
so
really
sweet.
that's our downtime right now. So, and we love it.
Share a little bit about the career pivot that you made and now where you find yourself in a new career path.
Sure. I do always say I was kind of always people and numbers. And if anything, anyone who knows me, I think, would say in all my career reviews always talked about the soft skills, right? Like good with people, great with the team. I can connect people and bring them together.
Oh yeah, that's one of the reasons we got together.
That's really part of it. Yeah. I mean,
It's her specialty.
yeah, yours too, for sure. And so, so feeling like that was where my skill set was. The number side of it was like strategy for sure. I'd say I love solving a puzzle, and I love being of service or helpful to people. And so after I lost my retail position, I was trying to find something similar I loved fashion and I loved retail, but that just wasn't a real available path at that time. Like post-COVID, a lot of those remote positions were drying
so
up.
different.
Yep.
Yes.
I'd had a few kind of getting closer to the end, conversations that eventually led to, and will you move? Or, where we thought it was going to
so
be.
hard.
Potentially it was a remote idea. And so I met with a financial advisor that I really, really give a lot of credit to for helping me in this journey. We met to talk about my husband and I, our finances. And at the end of that conversation, he suggested I go into that line of work. And
you were just like,
would
wait,
have
what?
never picked myself, as it feels like more of a analytical led role versus which I think is the change that we need in this category of life
100%.
and health, right? And how we manage it and the change that's happening in the world right now, especially in America and the great, transition, all of that. And so I was a little hesitant at first and felt like, well, let's just try it. And so I went and got my FINRA certifications and became a financial advisor, worked with that company for about a year, and then made a more recent transition. So now I'm with North Shore Bank of Commerce locally here in Duluth, and it has just been it again, kismet, when you feel like I think it all led up to this, and ours is not to question, but we sure do question a lot along the way, and I'm an overthinker, and so the pivot was really. It was, again, like I say, still people and numbers, but the day-to-day was so vastly different. But it was still working with people and feeling of service and being able to know that I was helping people. And that's what's really fulfilling in it for me. So, and that's really what has become.
Can I give you some props here?
Yeah.
So as women, we need to lift
too.
each other up. Krista isn't just like a financial advisor. She's the VP of Retirement Solutions at North Shore Bank.
Wow.
So
That's amazing.
I think that's like the message here, though.
Yes.
Like you have grown yourself in your career in a way that's not only supportive of your family, but with the women we work with the community. Like you've grown yourself into this whole new. It's a whole new era of Krista and who you are. And so I don't want to minimize that. I'm just
you
saying,
for that.
like,
No, I agree too. To stand in that now
stand
is
in your
like,
power, girl.
it can be, like I said, it was a path I didn't think I would be on. And I am so proud. Like, thank you for pointing that out. Just that to go have that pivot, really work hard for it and have it be something that has rewarded me back. So challenging at the time, and now it's just feels like second nature and feels exciting to think about the future in that. So
I was thinking the same thing, Kristine, because as I'm listening to her, I was like, she's a big deal. We need to be sure to be sharing that. And also to make a pivot at the time in your life that you did. You have a family. That was huge, and that could not have
Very
been easy.
stressful.
And to see where you are and like to have that moment of like, oh, all the roads were supposed to lead here.
Yeah.
I think is such a rewarding look back, and that people need to look back and be like, oh, it all makes sense now. Like, but you have to travel through those low points to get to the other side. So I wanted you to share that story because I think it is really what has made you and I haven't even known you that long, just like into just most incredible inspiration.
Oh, wow. Thank you. All the feels.
We like to give all the hype here. Absolutely.
Oh, no, I love it. Yeah, thank you for that.
Well, Kristine, now to shine the light on you and your fabulousness. Yes.
Oh, you're too
Please
kind.
share. Tell us about you.
Oh, man. How do I go after that, Krista?
Oh, please. You got it.
All right. Okay, so a little bit about me and Leap. So Krista and I worked together way back when, and we both had career pivots that were similar, and we were both let go for different reasons, different positions. We had both worked kind of our way up the ladder. And, I always say, like, my rejection was my redirection. I'm sure you probably resonate with that.
We say that all the time on this show.
And it was everything I didn't know I needed. And at the time, it was so hard because, like Krista said, my identity was fully wrapped into that job. It was who I was. I was on calls at 9 p.m. I was on calls at 7 a.m. Like, it was my life.
Too much.
It was a lot. And at the same time, I had gone back to school. I thought I was going to grow in that company and stay with that company. And I got my MBA, my MAM. And so I had no clue. And what was beautiful about this transition, I had moved in different spaces throughout that company, but when I was let go, I decided I am done working for the man, because as a woman, I think we're already a couple steps aside just conditionally from society. Like, we have to work a little bit harder. And so in working that hard and then only to then realize that the fate of your career is in somebody else's hands, you're like, all right, I'm going to take a different turn. So I was actually approached to consult for another retailer when I was at my position. And I said, as long as it's not a conflict of interest. Well, that didn't pan out, but this idea of consulting kind of popped into my head. And so when I was laid off, about a week later, I started my own company called Reinvent Your Hustle. And that, I didn't know what that would turn into. I was like, oh, I'm going to make money off of a blog. You know? anyone
days.
Yeah,
it's a thing.
But no, it was not the thing. So I built courses. I ended up running a couple different programs to help women entrepreneurs build their businesses. What it ended up turning into was I ran a mastermind, the Co-Creation Collective, and that helped women entrepreneurs build six-figure businesses online.
Awesome.
And so helping them step into their power, build marketing visibility, and really grow that business, that brand, through identifying what that business structure is to create reoccurring income and reoccurring revenue. And throughout that time, it was a beautiful, like, I had no idea what I was missing. So I built these retreats. And so we had these women gather, and it was such a wonderful time in my life. I look back and I'm like, did I actually do that? It was so cool. We went to so many cool places and had a, private chef and, mind, body, soul mastermind retreats. It was so great. And so that part of what I did was an amazing connection with other women, and I had built not just the mastermind, but membership. And so I had community with women, and I had been in this space where I was working nationally. So I was able to see what people were doing in other cities. I was invited to different spaces where women were gathering. And so once you get a taste of that, it's really hard to walk away from that type of community. And so I had built that in my own business, but I too had a career pivot. This was a couple of years ago where I was like, I'm burnt out. I need to do something different. It kind of started where I was like, how do I bring retreats to the local area, local meaning like Minneapolis, St. Paul? And that's where it started. And I realized it was kind of a square peg round hole, like one thing leads to another, where I transitioned into real estate because I had this fear of women in the home industry. And one piece of inspiration that I think I brought up to you, Christa, in like one of our first meetings, I used to speak for women in construction down in the Twin Cities. And this nonprofit of women, like women breaking glass ceilings, they were so community oriented. They were helping everyone out. Their events were well attended. They were bougie. They were fun. And just a really great way to gather. And so that continued to stick in my mind. And so as time went on and I ended up closing Reinvent Your Hustle because I was knee deep in real estate, I realized that was a piece of my passion that I was missing. And so when Christa and I got together for coffee, I was like, I don't know about you, but like there's something missing in Duluth. There is a space that either we need to create it or, something's got to give. Yes. And so I had been to a lot of different networking groups. I had been a part of a lot of things in Duluth, and nothing was really hitting the mark of what I wanted to see or what I wanted other people to feel. So when Christa and I got together, we had probably been searching or talking about it for at least 9 months, right? Something like that. And then Kismet, she met Lori. She's like, you got to meet Lori. And I was like, okay. So we popped on a call. And Lori and I hit it off. And then all of a sudden, she's like, yeah, so let's talk about LEAP. And I was like, okay, let's talk about it. And she's like, so it's for sale. And I was like, oh, that's what we're talking about. Okay, here we go. And that was the beginning of really Christa and I coming back to chat about it. You got me to my first Leap meeting.
Yeah. I mean, that's where Lori and I ended up falling with that too. It was like, oh, you should come to Leap and come check it out. And it was last October.
Yeah.
I think, right? In the bridal.
Yep, we hosted it at the bridal shop.
Oh, it's amazing.
And I, to your point exactly, Kristine, we were saying like, I want the community, but I also want something elevated because I appreciate that. I like still the idea of getting dressed up or showing up and feeling like you got yourself, to get there. And within 5 minutes of walking in and meeting you all and getting, to just network or chat in that space a little bit. And the session that was led that evening was on finding your third space, and everything just resonated and it just sat so well with us. Like I said, within 5 minutes, I was like, I'm in, sign me up. I want to be in. And it was the same conversation was, well, if you enjoy it, perhaps you would be interested in taking over.
Yeah.
And at that point, I know I felt, and we kind of came to the same conclusion that I had been hesitating on those changes for so long in life that it felt like this is coming because it's meant to be, and I want it. What am I holding back for? And so we somewhat quickly, I think, realized like, what are we dragging? Like what's for the sake of what are we holding off? Let's go, right? Like,
Right.
The worst that could happen is that it doesn't, right? And how great would it be?
You got to
if
take
it
a
did?
leap.
Yeah. So
Oh, I love it. That's
like
so
that?
it. That's so it. Yes.
I'm curious to hear from you guys what you have plans for with Leap, because our strategy was networking. And I think you guys have added a couple of new elements to not only just networking for women, but you have something else planned as well.
Yeah. Could we start just by letting everyone know LEAP stands for leaders, entrepreneurs, and professionals. And as you've heard, we're talking a lot about women gathering. We wanted a space where we could bring women together in an elevated environment where we could learn from one another, connect one another, grow, thrive together.
Yes.
So just to set the stage
Yes,
there.
please do. Because episode 23 was a while ago.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing. Let's go back to the beginning.
Yes.
Because when we founded this, there were 4 of us, all from different areas, who knew each other. And one of them was Lori, who we've talked about. And we just kind of said, let's see what happens. Let's make this a membership-driven organization where people commit, where they have some skin in the game to continue to come to these meetings. And in return, we'll provide these elevated experiences. With my background in event planning, that was sort of like, that's the easy part. And, all of us had our pieces of the puzzle that worked really well. And for 2 years, we did that. And as we would have hoped, we all elevated throughout the process, which was so exciting that while we were putting on these monthly events, all of our careers took different turns and paths. And, we found ourselves like
stretched thin, even with 4 of us.
But overflowing with abundance, right?
Yeah.
And that was the point at which we went, are we meant to keep doing this in this way? Or is it time to open the network, continue to grow the network by bringing in new leadership? And I think that was just like such an aha moment, because you can get to a point of burnout, right? Where you're like, do I have to just be done and quit this, and does it have to die, right? Like
close the doors,
the 4 of us, like what is going to happen if we cannot all continue to do this in the current model? And I remember it kind of just flashing through my brain, like, what if somebody else wants to take it over? Like, why wouldn't we at least ask? Because you never, and so many times people think like, it just has to be done, or if I can't do it, nobody else can or would want it. And we just said, well, let's ask, let's put it out there. And as soon as we did, the universe met what we were all looking for, right? You needed to ask, and we needed to put it out there.
It was perfect. Kismet.
Yeah.
And we put that, those groups really did develop a consistent core of women who joined as members, who came regularly, but then would bring along with them, or other people would find their way to the group. So it was kind of this great rotation of familiar faces, new faces. And a core piece, which I know that you've continued to do, is there was always sort of opportunity to like share or answer and ask of like, what do you need right now? So I just this morning, my gym buddy had been at your most recent event, and she said, you know what I got? Painters. And it was from Leap, because they said, what do you need right now? And I said, painters. And somebody knew someone, and like, they just painted my house. And like, sometimes you just need a safe place to like say what you need. How often as women do we not express our needs?
And it doesn't always have to be this grand.
Right.
It can be practical.
Agreed.
And in many cases, it should be when we're not, right? Because we want to make something of it. And
the simplest thing can make your life move forward.
Yeah.
I think even just the fact that you preface like, we're just going to ask you, and you're like, oh crap, I don't want to be the only one. Well, I need my house painted. Right. And then you're like, whoa, I solved that problem.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Well, and you know what they say? They say you're one opportunity away from, or you're one conversation away from an opportunity.
Yes.
But we have to put ourselves in those rooms.
Yes.
We have to encourage people to come to those rooms. I think, there's different types of women. Some of us are extroverted, some of us are introverted. Most of us are a little bit of both. But we need that ask. We need that encouragement, because we're often in these day-to-day, we go through our routines day to day. And if we don't step outside of those, everything remains the same.
Yeah.
So true. So
getting yourself into a room where you're able to meet new women that are, you are the 5 people you surround yourself with. So if you're not stepping into rooms that are elevated, that have a level of the next level of who you want to connect with, how you want to grow, whether it's personally, professionally, financially, socially, like whatever it is, if you're not putting yourself into that room, like you're the only one to blame. So we're here to encourage every woman to come to this room, because we've seen from our own personal experience, as well as other people's stories, how it can impact you immensely when you step outside of that comfort zone, even if it's just coming to a meeting.
And the container that you create is a safe container. It's like a space where it's like you said, the 5 people that you know. Well, in that room, you might know 5 people, and then you might meet 5 new people. Right. So there's this bridge, right? This connective tissue that makes it a comfortable place to be. And then we always would create an environment right out of the gate of just like community. And you guys have continued that so beautifully, so that within the first 30 minutes, people felt comfortable, ready to and you would interact and tell their stories, let their guard down, ask for what they need. And then, in a quick 2 hours, because we were always really like conscientious of people's time. The next thing you know, you're just like, I just feel better. Yeah. And I didn't even put my finger on it, but I feel better.
I'd like to encourage anyone who's not attended one of our events and is in the area that we live in, which is the Duluth Spirit area, to attend one if you're a female. I should preface that. And you don't have to know anyone, because whoever the hosts are, they'll greet you. You can bring a friend. The first one is usually free. Is that still the case? Yeah, maybe not, but it's low if there is a cost.
Low.
Yeah. And so to that point, but like there's usually really great like topics of conversation. So I just want to encourage anyone who's like, man, I really wish I could meet some new people, up level myself, learn something for little to no, barrier of entry. It's definitely something that I think helps support women, and you don't have to be an entrepreneur. You just be a mom, and you could come and just need to get out of the house, right? Because you're a leader as a mom. Let's be honest about that.
Absolutely.
So,
like you said, it's just community, really. So it is a little bit come as you are. It's a little bit maybe come as you want to be, right? Also. And I think one of the really magical things about what you created originally that we've wanted to carry forward is kind of the movable feast.
Yes.
And so the idea is the community and the belonging and the building each other up. But I love that what we're trying to continue is finding new venues every time. Excuse me. I think that even that routine of going to the same place can make you, there can be
stagnant.
A little bit of that, right? And so even for us as creating those venues, events, like it keeps us excited about where's the next
Oh, it's
place
so
and who's
fun.
the next speaker.
Yeah.
It's an adventure.
It's an
Yeah.
adventure.
Love
It's
that.
fun. And that was my experience. I went to one meeting, was already bought in because it, to your point, it immediately created that acceptance and it felt just really lovely and comfortable to be vulnerable. And then I went to a second and it was the same magic in a new space. So it also felt again like, oh, now I get to go here.
Yeah.
And ooh, where's the next one going to be? And so that was a piece that we really wanted to continue.
Well, and the reality is, like, we have not been everywhere in Duluth. There are so many cool places, new places, and you know, you had asked what's coming for us, like what do we want to create for Leap? And I think that's one of the goals as well, is giving not only business owners exposure, but giving these women exposure to different places that they haven't been before. Not only are we then helping local community business owners by bringing new faces into their establishments, not to mention women talk. So, you know, they say like,
and they purchase.
That's right. That's right.
Who doesn't want that group in their space? Right?
Absolutely. But it also, like, we want to create this elevated environment. So when we think about what do women want to experience, it's not just the physical space. We are thinking about, okay, how do we format this so that if you do come by yourself, you feel comfortable? So it's formatted to be very supportive in that. And then what are we drinking? What are we eating? We think through the details so that, you know, it's a sensory experience at the same time. And then how do we create impact? We say this in every meeting, but like, people come, they meet. This is not passing out business cards.
No.
Like, that is not how women are wired. And so we need to start networking in a different way where it's supportive of the way in which women want to grow and connect.
Oh, you give me the chills.
I know.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
It is exactly that.
it.
Building relationships.
Yes.
And so we talk about like how to refer. Make sure you have 5 slots on your sheet of paper, like meet for coffee, get a phone number.
Yes.
And if you say you're going to connect, you got to connect, right?
Send a DM.
That's
like,
right.
Just make that initial like, hey, here's my number. I mean, it's a lot like dating, honestly. And but we need that, like, women need to see a way to serve. I feel like that's a really important part about it. Like, we really like to be needed just in our nature. And so it creates those moments of like, how can I help you and you can help me? But not just because of business, just because we are friends. Like, now we've met each other. Now I see in you somebody who I could help. Instantly, it just changes the whole dynamic.
Right.
And stripping away this, like, I am my business card, and just like, I'm just a person who likes other humans and wants to help. Like, really amazing connections that happen because of that.
And how good does it feel when someone goes out on a limb for you? I feel like a lot of women I talk to, we do everything every single day, whether we're mothers, whether we're aunts, you know, whether we're business owners or we're professionals. I feel like we're juggling so much. So having women around us that are like, oh, I can do that for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I can connect you to that person. Oh, no problem. I'll email, you know, I'll put a connection together for you so you can find that painter or whatever it is that you need in your life. And that just feels so good when you're in a group that's trained to operate that way.
Wow. I think we found the right people.
I think so too.
To carry on our legacy.
I do too.
Because I'm just sitting here like, yes, all of that. I want to be there.
I've been to a couple of them, and you guys have done a fantastic job transitioning and keeping it consistent as far as like what our goals were and elevating it to another level, which is exactly what we wanted. Yeah. We wanted to like keep, you know, the old premise the same, really up-leveling women and, you know, play safe place, which you have created, but then also like offer more things. So in that vein, something
that you said, Kristine, was around every person that you meet is that one step away from an opportunity. We talk about the concept of expansion and expanders, and an expander, you know, they're all around us, and that it's that person that just by meeting them, it opens the next door for you, right? And so every opportunity, you know, to go to one of those meetings is a potential expansion. And then I think about how much that's further expansive by combining networks. And so that was another motivator. We had our 4 networks.
Yes.
Now you two have introduced whole other layers of networks.
Right.
So when you tap into that, now I'm like, I know people that you two know that I wouldn't have known before. And like all of us swirling around each other, but we're rooting in. And I feel like that expansion is just so exciting. And how, like put it out there, manifest, say what you want. The next thing you know, you're going to go to Leap and meet the person that can help you make it happen. And like that is truly the way to grow in the direction of your dreams.
Yeah. And I think that's how we found it, because I think Christine and I, we really complement each other well. We're not the same person. We weren't close friends when we worked in the same space, which I think is maybe a little bit some of the bottled lightning for us too, is that it allows us to be, I think, really honest with each other and
maybe too honest.
Known. And I think, but I think not, because we both kind of welcomed that. We kind of we entered into this with this understanding, right, that was the partnership.
Yep.
And so it does. There was a lot of the legacy that we loved, but then we didn't have a lot of exposure to the original format and group before we took it on, which I think also allowed maybe some opportunity for us to take some liberties, right? That felt comfortable,
make it your own,
right?
Yep.
And so I think not being too caught in the routine before we took it over allowed for us to, at least for me to feel some freedom to do that.
Yes.
And also because of how welcoming and gracious and helpful
that's
all
really
4
sweet.
of you founders were,
Here.
and to hand it over and to work with us and to be sounding boards and advisors for us, and like eternally grateful for that too, because it was a really big opportunity.
Well, it's like having a baby and being like, well, here you go now. Good luck. Yeah. I wanted to be like, and the baby needs to eat it too. And then
and we were like Christine had said, we were looking for something, and again, it just crossed our path, and it immediately felt warm and welcoming and right. And then as the turn of events happened, it just, it does give me like the goosebumps just to feel like when you think it maybe was meant to be, and to know that, we didn't have this long-standing relationship. So in turn, our story is that the purpose of what Leap was what brought us to be closer, to be together, and to be that one step away from that next opportunity. The doors that like Christine's open, it really is. Yeah. It's like it truly, like the magic happens. You put that, it can happen that way.
Well, and let's take it back even further. So if we go back to like the conversation of us both leaving our retail jobs and working with one another, like we did not expect to be in the positions that we're in today.
Right.
But like that brought us back together, like total full circle moment.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And if you would have asked me back then, I would have been like, wait, what? No.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what happens.
Yeah, definitely.
But Christa is amazing. And I agree with you. Like we are very different people, but we work so well together.
Yeah.
So well.
It's a really good
And hopefully
compliment.
that shows up for the women that attend the events.
Oh, it for sure does. That's already apparent.
Agreed.
Yeah. We
Something
keep each
you
other
said,
honest.
Krista, about honesty, right there, piggybacking on that. That has been a secret sauce of our partnership and our friendship, and being able to just
say the thing.
Honestly say the thing. And even when it's hard, when you build that trust with somebody, that even when you say it when it's hard, you're met with okay.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's
not defensiveness
such an important
or listening.
skill.
Yeah.
And any relationship,
I would
whether it's a
agree.
marriage or a friendship, but how many relationships are so surface level that like honesty doesn't find a home. But I think that the quicker you can get to that and to just being more comfortable being honest. I think I was just passed through the Amsterdam airport, and if anyone knows, the Dutch are just very honest people. Like they don't know. They like don't sugarcoat anything. So like everything is just very straightforward, and it can be like shocking and jarring. And my husband once did a project there, and he was like, I don't think they like me. And then after a week, he was like, I think they just say everything that's on their mind, honestly. And actually that's really refreshing. So that's a long story short, but we have that, and that trust has allowed us to elevate and grow and take on new opportunities and support each other through that. And
well, even with this leap, right?
Yeah.
Like it was just like hey, we need to change this up because what we're doing, everyone's just stretched too thin. So how do we want to do that? And normally you're always concerned, like, how are they going to take it? How are they going to feel? How do I protect feelings? My partner calls it radical honesty.
Yes.
I think it's really helpful if you can get that way with, your relationships. Of course, communication and how you communicate is key. But if you guys have fostered radical honesty with each other, I think Leap will be just fine.
It seems like just what we both already brought to the table. I did have someone ask me about that once. One was like, are you always this optimistic? Yes, pretty much. And then the honesty piece, and I feel like I grew up in a house that was very honest about everything too. But what I learned about honesty probably from my dad, and I learned about tactfulness from my mom. And maybe
it's a nice mix.
Spend our lives as women being groomed or learning, modeling behavior of managing other people's feelings and expectations. Yes. And so I think I carry both of those. Like I do care and want to protect your feelings in every situation, but I think there's a tactful way to help us both. And most women have probably been managed by someone that they needed to hear the message, but maybe the way in which it was delivered stopped the true intention of the message to come across. And having been on the other side of that, I always wanted to give the honesty. We all need it. We're better for it. But how you receive it is half the game, I think. And so I think Kristine has been, like we said, that balance. Like we've always been honest with each other, but we have this understanding that the intention is all for the better.
Yeah.
So we have the best interest of Leap and what we want for, I think the other piece we haven't really talked about is the money in it. Like you and I weren't in it for the money. And that's not something that's very common when someone builds a business is they're typically in it for the money, as they should be. I think when Christa and I started this, yes, money is great, right? But when we started talking about Leap, it was about how do we build a community that is supportive for us, selfishly, as well as the community in, we'll call it northern Minnesota, because there is an opportunity here that has not been exerted. Like there is an opportunity to bring women in. And when you had said, and actually Monique had said, there's a barrier to entry. Well, it's not very large, but the point is when you pay for something, you show up.
Oh yeah, skin in the game.
Skin in the game.
Skin in the game. And so as we think about, okay, well, there's a cost to this. Why would I go to Leap versus going to a chamber event or going to something that's free? Well, you get what you pay for, first of all.
Yes.
And then secondly, Christa and I are in this. Most of the money goes back to the events.
Yeah.
We also do 10% charitable give back. So knowing where your money is going, it's going into investing into these events to build a greater community for you. Like we're doing it for them. And so that also builds honesty, right? Because when we're having a conversation about Leap, it's like, it's not just about us. It's about, well, how will this be perceived? Well, what will they think? Well, what do they want? Well, what problem are they experiencing? How can we bring a speaker in or something to solve that? And then when we talk about money and like what we're charging for the events, we think it's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
I mean, really, the reality is if you want to gather, you want to eat food, you want to drink, drinks, whatever it might be on the table.
Something.
And you want to like cost of entry to get exposure to these elevated women. I think that's a heck of a deal.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
We always had sort of the similar philosophy of like, we weren't all for in it for the money, but there had to be a financial component to the membership in order to keep people invested. And in the end, I think we always saw like the abundance that it will bring to us will be shown through in other ways. And it certainly has, from clients that you suddenly meet and do business with, all of those relationships turning into other opportunities. And then in the end, it was pretty cool to sell a business. Like this was the first business that I've actually sold. I've bought businesses. And, we all were able to get something back out of it that made up for what we had put in. And I think that was a super rewarding piece for the four of us to successfully open, run, sell, move on from a business within 2 years. And I always think back to when we started the business. We were with the attorney who happened to be related to one of our founders. And he was like, you for sure you want to do this? And how we held that like our friendship and our relationship as foremost. And that we then successfully closed that out. To me, that was so rewarding. So abundance comes in many, many ways. And that was a priceless experience to get to go through that group project and successfully navigate it all.
Yeah, it was great.
And it proves that four women can
do that.
Can do that.
Oh yeah, we can work
And stay
together.
friends.
There was never a quarrel between us.
Yeah.
We just got very, very busy.
Yeah.
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 It was kind of awesome.
Now we're like, well, we'll see each other at Leap because I miss you otherwise.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one thing for whoever's listening and hasn't been to Leap, one thing that Christa and I, and myself, I don't know if I can speak for Christa per se, but jump in, is that when I think about what women need and what they're looking for, one reason that I thought Leap or building a community of women would be beneficial to me was because in real estate, it's really nice to have a sphere of women you know. Mm-hmm. It's really nice to connect with women that want to connect you to other women.
Right.
Right. And so when you were talking about that, Mariah, connecting to the things that you need, and those women might connect you to something else you might need, that's exactly one of the reasons I jumped into it, because I can expand my sphere at the same time creating an impact for other women.
Right.
So as anyone listening, if you are trying to grow your business or you are trying to grow professionally, and if you haven't thought about expanding your sphere and how that can impact your career, your trajectory, it can impact your business, your finances, it is 100% potentially a missing link. And we highly encourage you to come check it out for yourself and see, because this is a very giving group. Mm-hmm. And so put yourself in that environment. For me, it's already been absolutely amazing.
Yeah. No, I'm so happy to hear that.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
no, I agree too. To add on, because I do agree. Personally, I've never been really competitive, but I'm an achiever, right? I always want to do well, but the world or the business world, or as life has had it, oftentimes we're thrown in these circles where it's either or, right? Or you're competing, or I'd been told as I was trying to grow my career, well, you're the next, or this person is the next. And you have to, it felt competitive, and I was really tired of that. And we did spend a session talking about how when you find that circle and everyone's intention is to build each other up, we can let go of some of those cultural norms or labels that tend to come to women as far as having to be competitive and someone else has to suffer for your gain. And that's just never sat well with me, with us, to feel like how much could we all be if we all work towards that together. And so that really resonated with me. And I think selfishly, again, to say this endeavor was largely selfish for me in not wanting that experience to go away. But I found that what I was looking for was what other women were looking for too. And it felt just like this was needed, and more than happy to take on the opportunity to continue it for the people that find so much value in it. And hopefully we'll continue to find more and keep growing. And I do love that there's a little bit of a core group, like you said, and we've seen so many new faces. It was just like such a wonderful feeling in the last meeting to have someone come in who said, I just saw this, a friend shared it on LinkedIn, and I just came. And it was like,
that's amazing.
I thought, I don't know if I would have done that. I mean, I came
really
via invite, but it felt like, we have that self-doubt and that competitiveness that comes in, and to just feel like the mission truly, like the openness and the intention of what we want the group to cultivate, brought back that intention back to us, was really beautiful.
I would love for you guys to share how often you meet, what the investment is, how they could find you, like the website, all of that.
Details about upcoming or exciting teasers about future meetings,
or
whatever you want to share.
Right?
Yeah. So if you want to know more about it, you can find us online, and I would say both Christa and I, we haven't built an Instagram or a Facebook group or Facebook page specifically for LEAP, but you can find us online. Typically, we have 8 events a year. So we're shooting in April. Our next event is in May of 2026. And it is $45 if you've been to an event before. We have an annual membership that's rolling. So like your first event that you come to, if you sign up for a year, it's $347.
Okay.
And then, it has been free the first time you have come to visit in the past. And Christa and I have been talking through this of what that might look like in the future. It's really, really important to us to ensure that we can keep this going. And so there has to be at the level in which people expect and desire.
Yeah.
And so as of right now, our May meeting is free if you have not ever attended a LEAP event. So we encourage you to come check it out. And if we do add a price point for those who have not been to an event before, it won't be very much, but we're still in discussion on what that might look like. And we have some really cool places we've chosen. So what do we have in May?
Coming up in May, we have Salyard's Mansion.
Oh,
Courtesy of Heirloom Properties.
Very cool.
I'm so excited to go through that mansion.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Where is that one?
It's over in the Congdon area.
Yeah, over in the
I know. Is it the Yellow House? It used to be an Airbnb?
It is still.
Or it's still an Airbnb.
Yeah,
used
and so
to
they
be
did a little
bed and
renovation
breakfast.
in there. So they were excited to have a group in as well.
That's
before
awesome.
It's just down the
Yeah,
street
that'll be
from
really
me.
So
fun.
again, it's
Super
the
fun.
connections that build the connections.
I love
and
it.
again, they were excited to have the group
Yeah.
come,
It's
and we were looking
perfect.
for new exciting places to host. And we want to give a shout out to Bagley,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We've been at Bikra. We've been
So cool.
So we have a few more secrets coming up, but we're working on a few. And if anyone has new places that they want to go, we're always open.
Oh, yeah.
To
Send
hearing
us
where people want to
ideas.
go. But we'll post those as they come available on the website. So as Kristine said, you can find us at Leap Duluth, LEAP, Leap Duluth. And the format is, we have been following a similar format. There's some networking, there's some content. We always want you to have some opportunity to meet with your friends that you haven't seen since the last meeting event, a chance to meet new people. But we want there to be some content. There's always a topic and a suggestion, we'd like to suggest this, this content to you. Reflect on it. We give the group time to chat and reflect and maybe hopefully challenge each other, push each other. One of my favorite things about it, though, is the ask, where we typically we do that introduction kind of at the end, which isn't typical of women's networking groups that I've been to in the past. And I feel like that opportunity at the end allows it to stick in your mind a little bit more.
Totally.
So we've built the energy, we've had those connections, everyone's just feeling so excited about the moment. And then you hear someone with an ask and you think it just juices that internal need to want to be of service and help, filling your cup by filling someone else's. So that ask has been one of my favorite parts of it too. And I just had coffee with a couple women this week coming out of the last one, and it was the same sentiment, was that opportunity at the end to hear more in that moment makes more sense for them. So that we want to carry that through.
That's great.
Yeah,
I think the format has worked. And the education piece is super key, in my opinion, or a topic of conversation, because, networking is great and all, but it's really great to have things that kind of mind worms that stick in there and they gave me something to think about.
Food for
ponder.
thought. Yeah.
I really, really love that part of it. I just think growth, like she was saying, expansion, so part of both of our spheres. And I think that's awesome that you continued that.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Another really fantastic part, just I have to say, because Kristine is so good at it, is how she's really built that idea of how you properly refer.
Oh,
So really coaching women who, like myself, have been doing this for years, but understanding a little bit more about how the process might work best for someone in my position. And that's been another really
Would you like to
fun
run
piece,
through that really
Yeah, we
quickly?
can talk about that.
Love this.
This is a great exercise. So all too often I run into people that say they're going to do something and then it doesn't happen. And then you're sad because they said they were going to connect you to that person, right?
And you're awkwardly
So
like,
you-
should I say
Should
something?
I say
Yeah.
That's awful,
And then
right?
you make them feel bad because they never did it.
Yeah, and
it's
then
a
you're
weird
like, what
thing.
did I do wrong? Yeah, so we don't create that environment here. Here it's all about like teaching women how to refer. And so thank you, Krista. But
I love it.
The way that I usually talk about it, okay, so we have, typically they'll get a sheet of paper. And so whoever the speaker is, it'll kind of go through that. They'll see the agenda. And then on the back, there'll be prompts. So there's spaces for them to write in. So when they go into their little small groups or whatever the speaker decides to do, they're able to have those conversations. And sometimes that will prompt the ask, right? Because it's at the end, because now they're reflecting. And there's 5 slots, as I think I mentioned this before, but there's like 5 slots with name, email, phone number. And so I will talk about how it's not just asking for someone's email. If someone said, hey, what do you need? I'm looking to buy a business. This happened, I don't know, a couple times ago. I'm looking to buy a business that's already been running. Okay, great. How would you refer that person? Well, I might say, what type of business are you looking for? Okay, great. I think I know someone. Wonderful. What do you do now? Well, how would you prefer me to connect you with that person? Does email work?
Yeah.
Are you on LinkedIn? How do you know one another? Would a text message be best? Like figuring out what would be best for the other person. No problem. I will put together an email that sounds like it would work best. I'll connect you to. And then what you do as the referrer is they are borrowing trust from you. So because you're referring them to someone who does not know them, you are the authority and trust. They already trust you. And so you need to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
And the best way to bridge that gap is to introduce them, find a point of similarity, ask or need, and then introduce them in the email stating what that might be. Whether, oh, you guys go to the same church. Oh, you guys are both hockey moms. I thought you should meet. And did you know that she's really looking for, she's actually looking to buy a business. And, you know, you're such a great connector. I know you had mentioned this in the meeting we were in the other day. And so you bridge that gap. And then what happens at that point is you need to exit.
Yeah,
like you are not
get out of it.
responsible for that referral. So it's important to say, okay, I'll let you guys connect from here. The person that you're referring, the person that you just had a conversation with, it is so important for them to follow up right away.
Yeah.
And if you say you're going to make a referral, do it within 24 hours. Because what happens is you write this list down, then all of a sudden all hell breaks loose at home, or someone gets sick, or something at work happens, and then now it's a week later, and that's so, you know, that just isn't going to work, right?
Yep.
People forget.
Yep.
So making sure you follow through with what you said you were going to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love the way you put that in.
Yes.
I think it's really helpful. I love the idea of asking, how do you want the referral to happen? Because for me, it's not a phone call. If it ends up in my voicemail, good luck.
It's gone.
But
It's
that
gone.
might work for someone
Right,
else.
but someone
right?
else might
So
be like,
to
I
make
really
it
like to talk on the
tailored.
phone.
Yep.
Yeah, and to be able to say, like, you know what, email is best. That is my best chance of getting back, or text or whatever. So I love that, one. And two, so much of it is sales, right? Everything, a lot of things in business come back to sales. And that sales is all about what's this connection point that we have, and how are you selling person A to person B and making that connection. And I like thinking about, like, okay, like, how am I going to make this sale?
Well, and the average woman doesn't think that she's in sales.
No.
But anytime you talk
all are
about
in
something,
sales.
you're
All
selling
day,
something.
every day.
Doesn't matter if
Yourself,
it's your favorite pair of yoga pants.
Yeah.
You're selling it.
Well, and I have noticed too that a lot of times people are afraid to ask. So this is if you have, because they don't know how. So I love having the blueprint and the process
Yep.
because it just helps people have a clear path and helps them makes it a little easier, right? Because I feel like women are challenged with asking what they need, definitely with what they want.
And they're used
Yeah.
to being in the rooms that are run by men
Yes.
with a male-oriented approach,
A different lens.
which is just a different lens. And it's not saying it's right or wrong here nor there, or that we can't still gather men and women and do business and
Of
network.
course.
Of course. But in a group of women, you have the luxury of playing in a little bit different pond. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great formula.
A good example of the types of things you pick up by going
Yes.
to a meeting.
Small little nugget there, people. Keep coming.
Yeah.
Or show up.
Well, this is a perfect spot to end on today. As always, these conversations, I just love how organically they can flow when we're in the room with amazing women. I loved learning more about each of your stories and just seeing a really cool full circle moment for us way back to episode 23, where we were debuting this group we had founded, to today where we're introducing, the legacy of something that we really believe in. And I'm just thrilled to be able to attend as a guest. Like, you
I
don't
agree.
even know. It has been difficult to have not made it to the last meeting, but I know that I will continue. I'm super excited about the just creative ideas that I know that you have and that are coming. And it's really special, and it's a pleasure to be able to have you here sharing with our audience. And like we said, we'll be linking to all of the information about how to find LEAP and how to attend a meeting in our show notes. And feel free to DM us or reach out by email if you want more information through us. We're happy to be the connectors and make the referrals.
Thank you. There's a new wave of networking, my friends. So join us.
Yeah.
Love it.
I agree, and I like it.
Yeah. And that's the
We'll
ultimate
be there.
compliment. So thank you. For you to want to attend as a guest.
Oh,
is
of
true.
course. Yeah.
Oh, we'll see you there for sure. Thank you. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Heart and Soul podcast. As always, we just love connecting with women or anyone who's interested in listening to us. We are Duluth based, and we will continue to bring you great content about things that women care about and share our honest opinions and life experiences and feedback. So if you're willing to like and subscribe to the podcast, that always helps, and leave us a review. 5 stars would be the best. We'll take it. But we just appreciate anybody who has been a listener, whether it's your first time or you're a loyal follower. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts and souls. Till next time. Cheers, friends. You've just finished another episode of the Heart and Soul podcast. We hope that you've enjoyed the show. And if you've loved it, we would love if you'd leave us a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening. You can find links to leave that review in the show notes, where you'll also find other resources that we reference on our show. And if you think a friend could find value in today's episode or any future episodes, please share this episode with them on social media. This is one of the only ways the podcast can organically grow, and we just can't wait to connect with you and all of your besties. You can also find Monique and I on our many social media platforms or our websites, and we're going to leave links to those in the show notes as well. Thank you for listening. We look forward to sharing our hearts and souls with you again next time. With Heart, I'm Mariah.
And with Soul, I'm Monique.